All right. You ready, Angie?
Sure. Does that mean I
Oh,
gotta quit watching this video?
yeah. And there's a strange guy in the corner.
Where?
In that corner,
I
right
don't
above your head.
see
Who-
nobody above my head.
Well, on my screen and what people see, it's right above your head.
No, when I see it, we're all three straight across.
Well, thankfully he's just here for the safety rating. I need one of those shirts so badly.
Hmm.
I
Too
love
bad
it.
they don't make an ATS one.
Yeah, I actually do have an American Truck Simulator shirt. I thought about wearing that one, but I didn't
Oh,
want there to be any issues with like advertising in your podcast or anything. So I decided to wear something that was a little bit more vague.
I seriously doubt anybody's going to be watching my podcast and worried about advertising.
Well, I figured better be safe than sorry.
That's,
I do have a How to Suck at iRacing t-shirt as well as a iRacing t-shirt, but I've already worn them, so I didn't want to pull them
well.
out.
Well, for those who don't recognize the voice, that is the Mark Nelson.
How dare you? So
I,
I'd like to.
honestly, until a moment ago, I thought you were one of the voices in Angie's head. You were just really, really loud.
All right, Angie, I think there's something going on there that you probably need to talk about.
Yeah, well, it's a Doug issue. He has problems.
Oh, it's a Doug issue.
Yeah,
Right.
he thinks I hear voices.
Okay.
Anyway, you do. Um, since I have the ability to mute you, be careful, young lady.
It's just squirrel. It's just squirrels.
I know. So, our first time doing an interview, we got the Mark Nelson to be the guinea pig. You poor, poor soul.
Let's do it. I'm a guinea pig all the time. Like, this is nothing new.
All right, so I have some random questions I put together, but honestly, just going for some free-flowing discussion.
Oh, good.
So let's start with how long have you been gaming / racing / trucking?
Oh God, there's like numbers to each of those questions.
No, that's
I've
true.
been I have been gaming since I was about 14. I've been doing racing on iRacing since 2018, and I've been trucking since 2021, I think.
Wow, I
So
honestly thought you'd started trucking before racing for some reason.
no, it was people that I met through iRacing that actually got me an American Truck Simulator. And let me tell you, I was pretty bad at it the first like hour. I was like, this sucks. Why are you telling me I should do this? I mean, he was trying to get me to use an 18-speed shifter right away from the
Oh,
very beginning. And I'm just like, you're absolutely nuts.
if you've never done it before,
I
yeah,
couldn't
that
get the
would.
truck in the gear.
Goodness, that would be a nightmare. Do you use an 18-speed shifter now?
So I had a shifter knob that could do the switches and
Right.
do 18 gears, but it broke. And so actually what I'm doing now is I use the paddle shifters on my steering wheel to do the switches, so I can do manual 18.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
because
keep I keep threatening to plug Angie's knob in that has the switches to go to full 18 and switch her stuff over.
yeah, well, I noticed that when we use that 2100 horsepower truck engine, that I don't know if you've ever noticed this, Angie, but it starts in 15th gear. Like when
Yes.
you're stopped and you
Hmm.
start to move forward,
Yeah.
it uses 15th gear. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's stupid. No wonder I can't get going.
Yeah, it does. I've noticed that too. Or that it's either 15th or 12th. Mine starts in 12th usually. So
So I don't know, Doug. I don't know if you want to know, but my very first game was actually Need for Speed High Stakes. It was a Electronic Arts game back in 1999 or something like that, and I played the crap out of that game. But that was one of my. I loved that game. I actually was playing off of somebody else's console while they were gone all the time. I don't know how he felt about that, but I was playing that game and it was so much fun. And then gradually I got into NASCAR from there, and then I went to college in 2005, and I really didn't play games until like 2009 again. That was pretty minimal between.
Uh, as to be expected. I think I still have a copy because I've got a lot of my old PS1 and PS2 games, and I think I have that. Because back, when the PlayStation came out, there was back in PS1 and PS2 days were really the best days for racing games. I mean, there
Yeah.
was one coming out every half hour, and a lot of them were actually really good for the time frame.
Yeah, that would seem like there was more quantity over
Mhm.
quality back then.
Yeah,
The
you
unique
get a few quality games, but
the unique thing about Need for Speed High Stakes that I don't think I've ever heard of before is you could have two people with their memory cards plug into the console, play against each other, and whoever wins the championship takes the car that the other person lost with
Oh,
and
wow.
puts it on their memory card. Like I've never seen a
oh,
game that does that since.
It's kind of like
that
it's kind
is
of that'd be kind of like racing, and whoever wins gets the pink slip, huh?
yes.
So I lost it the first time, and I was like, screw that. I'm going to get awesome at this game. I'm never going through that kind of trauma again.
Well, because if I remember, that did have some basic upgrading and tuning and whatnot for
It
your
did,
car.
yes.
So yeah, even back then, even the NASCAR games back then, you had 4 settings that you could, you had like downforce, up and down, suspension, 1 or 2 other things, and you'd still spend a lot of time just perfecting it.
Yeah, those games got me hooked with customization. Like those Need for Speed games, they'd stick like wings on the back of it, and they'd give you like these really big splitters, and I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. But I really only ever played against computers back then, so it was a little bit less interesting, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I've got one of the Need for Speeds that I started playing a while back, and I was trying to look at my screen to see what it was, but I started playing it and I did a few streams of it, but I don't know, it seemed like the newer Need for Speeds got away from it. To me, it seemed like it was more about a story and a plot and crime and underground stuff, and not so much about the cars and the
Sure.
customization and the racing and the cool stuff about it.
Yeah, they started to switch back to sort of a storyline around the PS2 days, actually. It was
Mm-hmm.
like 2002 or something like that, where they kind of started focusing on story. I think my favorite really, you might find this hard to believe, is Need for Speed 5 on PlayStation 1 called Porsche Unleashed. So
I remember that.
it was a game that was completely of Porsche, but what was really neat about it is that there was 3 separate parts to the game. You would start in the classic era where you would drive the cars that came out between the 50s and the 60s, and then you would go to the golden era, or maybe it was the middle era, and then it would be like the 70s and 80s, and then you would go to the modern era, and then that was the cars in the 90s and 2000s. And so you got to drive like all these different Porsche cars, and yeah, I think that's kind of what started getting me into Porsche too.
I do remember that. This is kind of going over Angie's head because she hadn't played until we met. She hadn't played anything since the Nintendo.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
And
life
go ahead, Angie.
No, I was just life happens. I mean, you just you do what you can do.
I think she needs to dedicate more time to playing more games and learning more.
I think she needs to get into iRacing again, but
working on
come
that
on.
because eventually she's going to start broadcasting.
Sure, she is. Says Doug.
Well, I can tell you the times that we've had her on a broadcast, every time I've gotten we want more Angie. So I don't know if it was her reactions, her voice, what it was, but it's always more Angie.
Poor guy.
Well, I think she was doing a pretty good job in those Friday races that she was doing back in the day, and I haven't been able to make the last 2 of them that you've hosted. But if Angie was to get in that race, I might just tell the people that I'm doing things with instead, sorry, I can't.
I got a unicorn to wreck.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to go that far, but that sounds like a good plan too.
Is the plan. No.
So we've discussed your favorite game. I have to ask this one. What is the game that you have hated the most ever playing?
Ooh, gosh, I don't know. I love all the games that I play. No. Gee, that's a good question. I don't really branch out very much with games. I've kind of stuck with franchises, and then I don't
Hmm.
branch out very much from that. Um, I can tell you a mission in a game that I hated.
What's up?
So, did you ever play Call of Duty 4? There was a mission at the very end where you're on an airplane and you have to run the length of the bottom floor, run up the stairs, and then run the other way and shoot the person that's holding someone hostage.
Yes, he's holding the president hostage. It's Air Force
So
One.
that was
Yeah.
probably the mission that took me to the brink of my sanity the most because
I think it
I
did to
used to
all of us.
be I used to be an achievement hunter, which meant that I would try to 100% the achievements slash trophies on every single game.
I did that for a
And
while.
I got all the way through veteran. And Doug, if you've ever played a Call of Duty game on veteran before, it is the worst.
It is.
You stare at somebody wrong, you die. Like
Yes.
it's so easy for them to kill you. And so in this particular mini mission, because it's on veteran, the time you can do it is decreased. You have a minute to basically run down the bottom floor of an airplane, go up the stairs, go back. While people are shooting at you from all directions, and when you get to the end, the person that's holding the person hostage is like doing this
Yeah.
with the hostage, and you're like, I only have 5 seconds. You know?
Yes.
And I just must have been bad at games back then because I kid you not, I played that mission or failed that mission like for 4 hours until I finally got it right. I played that 1 minute mission for 4 hours before I finally succeeded. I
I
actually punched a hole through a door because I got so angry. And I actually got up and started to run for another door I hadn't ruined yet, but I ran out of anger before I got to it. So, I mean, I don't know if I've ever hated a game, but I can say I hated that mission with
I
all of my being.
I will admit I was achievement hunting back in the day, and I did the same thing with that game. I never completed that mission on veteran. I think I probably spent just as much time, and I just was like, you know what? I'm out. I don't care.
I I respect you for that, Doug, because you didn't waste 4 hours of your life like I did.
I probably, in all honesty, did. I will tell you, we back in the day when we were doing achievement hunting, a friend of mine and I would do it. And you remember when GameFly came out? It was like the Netflix service where you could get a disc. I
I
had
vaguely
the
remember it.
huh?
I vaguely remember it. I never used it.
I did just to try and catch up because he had got an Xbox 360 like a year before me, so he had like a 12 or 15,000 point head start. So I found a website with the easiest achievements and how to get them, and I got a GameFly 1 month free account, and in the first week and a half, I gained 10 or 12,000 achievement points, including I am probably one of the few people that's ever played the Airbender game, whatever it's called. I'll remember it later, but the last Airbender. I've played the first 2 minutes of the last Airbender game. I think it was so terribly reviewed that I think anybody who played it, you could get 1,000 points in less than 2 minutes, and I think that's what everybody did.
I remember back when the games you could actually 100% offline, but then they started adding multiplayer and
Yep.
add-on content and everything like that, and then I slowly started to lose that drive to get 100% on the games because they kept on. I've never been a multiplayer person. Like me doing multiplayer in iRacing is actually kind of rare for me. I don't really enjoy competition that much, or I don't have a very competitive nature.
Mm.
I just don't want to be bothered, if that makes sense. So I just don't want other people frustrating me doing something that's supposed to be fun, if that makes sense.
Oh,
So
yeah. I used to be very into it, into the multiplayer aspect, but I was playing Battlefield 2, and we'd team up with a group of friends, and we'd get off work and we'd all go home and play. And it was our team and we just go out there and squash people. But back in the early 2000s when we were doing this through about 2007, 2008, it wasn't bad to be in multiplayer. And sometime around '08, maybe 2010, you started getting some 13-year-old cussing you out, and I was like, you know what? No, just no.
I played a little bit of Halo multiplayer, and I should say I played quite a bit until kind of the ending days of Halo 3 being popular for multiplayer. I played quite a bit of multiplayer in Halo 3, but I had one of the most awkward things happen playing multiplayer in Halo 2 one time. The person that I was teamed up with at the very end of the match, he's like, all right, time for me to go, and then insert very inappropriate personal thing that he's going to do. I'm like, I didn't need to know that, but I am going to go jab my eardrums out now.
I have to admit something, and I know there's going to be a lot of comments come from this one. I didn't like Halo. Not too long ago, the Master Chief Collection was on sale for like $10, so I grabbed it, and I keep saying one of these days I'm going to install it, and I'll hop on a stream, and I'll try and play through it. But I played a little bit of multiplayer at a friend's house a couple of times, but I just never could get into it.
Halo 2 was my first, technically. Like, that's the one that I played first. It's the one that was out when I learned about it. Then I went back and I played 1. I played all of them quite a few times, but I've played 1 through 3 a bunch. I really liked 3. 3 was kind of the first time I started it myself. Like, nobody was in the room with me, and I went through it myself. And that's technically my first Halo because I didn't have any help.
Oh, yeah.
And then 4 was with 343 Industries after Bungie got out, and I really liked that one as well. And then 5 and Infinite, I've played maybe 5 times each. They just got to be so long and complex, and I don't know what they did. It just bored me. So I just, 2 was one of my favorites of games of all time, and still I find enjoyment out of playing it now. But I haven't played any of them and for so long. I don't know. It just kind of grew out of me.
Does your wife game at all?
No, she doesn't. I've tried. She probably would if I was to, make enough of a fool of myself, or I don't know, do something extremely ridiculous for her. Maybe she would.
I got very, very lucky because Angie was completely accidental. I got American Truck Sim, and just because we had talked about it, you had mentioned it, a few others had mentioned it, and so I got it, I installed it, I set my wheel up and let her sit down on my computer. Do you remember what time it was when you sat down?
Around 6 or 7, I believe, in the
Do
evening.
you remember what time you finally went to bed that night?
About 3 or 4 that morning.
She was kind of hooked, so I'm hoping now that the Beam server is up and running, I'm hoping we get a little bit more action on there and can do some stuff too.
I can't wait to get her and Jeremy in the same session. That's going to be amazing.
Jeremy doesn't have Beam.
Yet.
Yeah.
I don't know that his computer will run it.
It should.
I know he did say the other day all he played, I think, was ATS and ETS 2.
I will say there is a ramp and a bus with nitros in that game, and
oh, really?
Angie is going to be in a vehicle at the end.
Oh, goodness.
It's a little bit tricky to get stuff moved around. Like, you can place objects like ramps and things around, but if you like try to spawn them in the wrong place, they'll just like fall over the side. And I'm like, well, that's not where I needed it. So it's going to take some learning.
I don't think I've ever played it.
Beam?
Yeah,
we did. We did one night, but we'd get going and it would take forever to load because we were on a public server. And you drove around a little bit solo, and then I
remember playing Wreckfest, and I remember playing the one where we drove out on the water, out by the water.
That was Beam.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, we were in those kind of like side by sides. Those.
Yeah, like a dune buggy type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that was Beam.
Oh, I guess I have played it.
Yeah, and I
The fun. Go ahead.
actually installed a couple of maps on your. I noticed it the other day because I knew how much you liked rallying, so I grabbed some of the rally maps for you on that too.
Cool.
You need to do more rallying. Maybe since Sketch isn't going to be available this week, you could rally or beam or something.
My
Instead of-
suggestion is once we get to playing BeamNG, you just need to make the biggest button on your steering wheel the reset button, because you are going to be flying in pieces constantly, and you
You're right.
have to hit the button to reset. It's easy to reset and you're back in business, but cars don't stay intact for very long.
No.
There's something flying off of them all the time.
I will tell you, I loaded in yesterday on her computer when I was trying to make sure the server was working because I was doing everything in here on mine, and then I'd log in, and I got hers in, and there was something wrong with the when I first got on, there was something wrong with the camera position. So I hit the gas, the camera stayed still, and the car went away. And I was like, wait, what? And it took me a minute to fix it, but I forgot to take my foot off the gas while I'm pushing buttons trying to get it. And it was on that basic map that has like ramps and curves and all sorts of stuff. And when I finally got in the car, it was up against a wall. The front windshield was cracked up. The hood was off. It was a mess.
There's this one control that you can set to your wheel if you want, where it'll actually cycle between all the spawn items. So you can actually like cycle to, if you put a ramp on the map, you can cycle to the ramp. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can also cycle to other people's cars that are driving around in the session, so you can like see where they're at and what they're doing like that. Like you can just cycle through everything that's been loaded into the map. It's kind of cool. I recommend that button.
Somebody mentioned in one of the comments about the server, somebody mentioned the fact that you could actually spawn your car inside another car, and it would cause the other car that you spawned into to go haywire.
I believe it.
And fly, so yeah.
I think you can do it to yourself.
I have to ask because obviously you had a rough morning with Watkins Glen.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, it sounded like. I have to ask, what is your worst gaming moment? I mean, obviously you punched doors for Call of Duty, and then you had Watkins Glen this morning.
Oh my gosh, I'd probably have some good answers to these questions. I should have prepared. My worst, I'm sure there's plenty. It would probably be something where I was interacting with somebody else, because I have a really, really heavy conscience. And when I wrong somebody, like, I can forgive people very easily, except myself. You know, perfection is required. And so I'm sure I have plenty of bad stories, but one that immediately comes to mind, very early on in my iRacing days, I was driving at Daytona in the Craftsman truck, and there was a caution. We were catching the pace car. I was going like 170 miles an hour down the back stretch, and when I caught the field, I hit the brakes, and I just went head first into the outside wall in front of everybody that was behind me.
Oh, no.
So that was kind of embarrassing. I mean, I know that wasn't a very low point, but I probably would have a better answer for you later. But it probably happened in iRacing. I'm sure. Whatever stupid thing that I did, I'm sure it happened in iRacing.
I've had a few where it's been like games I'm playing, and the game, I almost had one today as playing Assassin's Creed, and I was on the stream, and the game kept crashing, kept getting a DirectX 12 error. And I tried several different things, and it all, I could have fixed it completely, but it would have taken half an hour and killed the stream and then have to come back. And so I was just quickly bringing the game back up. Those are, I mean, issues happen on track, issues happen in games, but when a newish game is crashing on you, that's where I lose my crap.
I get that. It's pretty frustrating when technology can't do the most basic of things.
I know when Angie's most frustrating moments are, and they always involve Cody.
Usually.
I'm not surprised by that in the least. I did think of another one though. So this is really embarrassing, like more embarrassing than that, but kind of in a different way. So my keyboard has functions on the F keys, and one of the buttons is a sleep button for my computer.
Yeah.
And so I can use a button combination so that the F keys, if I hit the F key, it's actually the F key that I get and not the function, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can go back and forth between what's on the button. And so my default, I want to be the F keys, not the functions. And I thought that was set up. So I'm going into a corner at Daytona in front of the field, and I go over to hit like F3, I think it is. No, F4 for some reason. And for some reason, my keyboard was thinking that meant sleep. And so as I hit the F4 key, my computer goes to sleep. And I'm
Oh.
like, oh God. Oops.
Oh.
And I ended up wrecking somebody that was right behind me. I mean, I didn't know that until later when I came back, but I was
Back
pretty embarrassed by that.
back in the
Stupid keyboard.
papyrus days, there was a thing where if you were going to be racing over a 3 hour time period from like 1 to 4 a.m. on the day that the time changed, the time will change on your computer even if you're in a sim. And we were in a league race, I want to say 99 or 2000, because it was the first time it ever happened, but it happened to everybody all at once, where we're racing along and all of a sudden all of our times change on our computer. And when it did, it kicked us all out of the server all at once. And kaput. We had similar, I mean, it was really, really dumb, but same basic effect. Everybody just
Yeah,
disappeared.
it's that stuff that you don't have any control over. I mean,
Mm,
the sleep key was all me. I'll own that. But there's things that happen to people that you feel bad for them. You know, it's nice to finally beat them, but you also don't want to win because they had something happen to them they couldn't control.
that's true.
I have another story about that. So when I got into iRacing, I was doing ranked races because I didn't have any friends yet. And every hour I would do a new race, and all of a sudden all the cars would disappear that I was racing around. I was running in the top 5, and then all of a sudden they'd reappear and I'd be a lap down. And I'm like,
Oh,
what is going on? Like every single hour, every single race. So I would be running top 5, be working my butt off, and then next thing I know, I'm a lap down. I'm like, what is going on? What I come to find out is there's actually a setting on my router that will do a speed test every half hour to basically populate the dashboard so
oh
you can
yeah.
see like the different graphs and everything properly. And it was running a speed test, and it was jamming my line to do the speed test, and that's what was happening. That's why I kept having connection
Mhm.
issues. And I'm just like, and
Oh,
that's getting turned off.
no kidding. I've heard of things like that, but I've never heard them have. I've heard of the speed test thing, but I've never heard of it causing an impact like that. That's nuts.
Yeah, because what a speed test does, it basically fills the line to see like what its capacity is, what it can do, and it was succeeding.
I'm not gonna say that something similar has happened recently when we've been on the phone with our fiber provider, and after they flush uh, the table on the router, and I may or may not have not realized he was still doing some troubleshooting and ran a speed test. That may have happened this morning.
Oh.
We'd had the connection dropping a little bit, and so we called him up, and I said, "Hey, we haven't had a problem like a year and a half, so I said, just do this," and walked him through what he needed to do, and then he wanted to go ahead for his ticket and do the remainder of his troubleshooting. But I thought he was done, and he said everything looked connected okay. I said, "Yeah, hang on a minute." fired up a speed test, and he's like, "Oh crap! Well, my system's not working all of a sudden." I was like, "Oh shit! I thought you were done."
Yeah, it's when you're doing competitive multiplayer stuff like that, you got to keep the line open enough for it to work. Otherwise, you're screaming at people in the house, "Get off the internet!"
Yeah, when I first started racing, it was on a dial-up, so
The dial-up was my first experience too. I was living in the country, and that's all we could get. And so basically, here's a stupid story. As soon as I got out of my house and went to college, our internet service provider reached out to my parents and said, "Hey, we're upgrading to DSL. Would you like that? And you don't need to have your phone line jammed up because of DSL." I'm just like, you a-holes, like, God dang it. Finally get good internet after I leave the house. And like my mom even went to the lengths of getting an internet answering machine. And so if somebody called, this machine that was on the computer that I was on the internet with, they would take the call and we could listen to the call later. So at least they were getting through. And it got to a point sometimes where my mom was so tired of me being on the internet where she would pick up the phone and she would just hit numbers constantly trying to get the dial-up connection to drop. Like she was just tired of my crap.
I will tell you a relatively fun, and I've told people this story before, but when Angie and I started dating, and I was living up in Bella Vista, Arkansas, and we only had cable internet available. So I was paying over $200 a month, and it was 1 gig down, 30 meg up. And so the first time I came over here to broadcast, she had the lowest plan on her fiber, and she said, "God, it's so expensive." It was $40 a month for a 250 meg fiber line, and I was like, and ever since we bumped it up to 500 meg last year, I think it was, to help things out, and it's still only like 50 or $55 a month.
Yeah, internet is crazy cheap still for
But
like
not if you have
home
cable.
use. Well, I've been using a cable connection basically my entire life, and while I've been living on my own,
Yeah,
and I'm still only paying $80 a month for cable modem, 500 meg by 50, I think. So it's still
wow,
relatively inexpensive.
that's not.
It was just the company you had, Doug.
Well, yes,
Apparently.
Cox Internet is.
Yes, I was getting ready to say it was Cox, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they will rip everybody off. So it kind of makes sense with them, but you know,
I know people in Siloam gripe about them all the time because that's all they can get up there.
yeah, they kind of got themselves a monopoly in northwest Arkansas and northeast Oklahoma.
Just like
That's actually really common for internet providers in general.
It is.
There is a bit of a monopoly wherever you live. If I wanted to go with a different company, I don't even know how successful I would be.
You may have fiber to your close by and you don't know it because so much fiber is going in. I have a friend that that's what he does for a living, is schedule and plan and project manages and helps with the fiber installs across the country. And he's installing all over the place. So
The company that I have it through with right now, they are putting fiber to all the homes that they build nowadays. But again, unfortunately, it happened after I moved in, so they
yeah,
haven't gotten it to our house yet. It's really not a big deal. I have really good luck with my connection whenever I'm in multiplayer things. I almost never have issues, so knock on wood. But it would be nice to have fiber.
what is your all-time favorite game?
Oh gosh. I only can pick one? That sucks.
I'm the same way.
what's your top 5?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I can work with that. So oddly enough, I love The Last of Us. And 4 years ago, I didn't know a thing about it. It was the TV show that came out in spring of 2003 that got me to actually then go over and check out what the game was like. And I think the gamer is superior to both season 1 and 2 of the show.
And we didn't get a
It,
snowball fight.
yeah, no, we didn't. So The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 are just exceptional games. I mean, they've had an impact on me that I never thought a video game could. I mean, they are just such moving stories. So I would have to say that those are 1 and 2 on my favorite games list. I would say that probably Silent Hill 2, which I've had an ability to play recently because they remade it, that's probably in the top 5 as well. Trying to think the other 2. I would probably have to say maybe Resident Evil 4 is really up there as one of my favorite games.
I don't remember which one that one is.
That's the one with Leon when he goes to Spain.
Oh, I never played that one.
Yeah, that was the one that pretty much is always said to be the best Resident Evil or something. And
really,
and it is pretty dang good.
I've
been playing the remake recently again.
I'm not a big horror game guy because growing up in a funeral home, it just bores me. But well, I did get Visage.
We're gonna have to do that together.
Yep.
I think I just want to see your reaction. I watched somebody play it one time, and he was actually really ticking me off because he was being such a jerk about it, and I'm like, dude, you just suck at games.
That's me.
Gosh, I'm trying to think. Well, I don't know about that. Like, this guy was just exceptionally bad, and he was blaming the game for his being bad. Gosh, I don't know. I really like Iracing, so I guess we'll go with that. I mean, I've probably spent more time on Iracing than pretty much any other game. So it's really changed my life in a way. It filled a need that I had. I've never been able to race a car in real life, so being able to do that somehow is kind of filling that void.
Have you ever gone to one of the driving schools or you know?
I have not.
You ever get the chance? I highly recommend Team Texas just because, I mean, I've heard stories about Petty and some of the others, but the way Team Texas is, if you're just going for a weekend, they have a 10-lap thing you can do where you go through a class and then you go and you've got a guy in the passenger seat with you. He has no controls other than the switches in the middle, but you're not out there alone. There's 7 other cars out on track at the same time. So if I pull out someday I'm going to get my VHS digitized, and I passed 2 or 3 cars during my 10 laps, and that was the only. I should have got the VHS for the next weekend, because if you can do this whole program, or at least you used to be able to, where you can go do an actual race type thing with some of your fellow students, but it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal.
Yeah.
I need to get Angie that.
I went to Las Vegas last year, and I did do the Dream Car experience.
Oh.
It was about a 20-minute deal where they let you pick a car or a combination of cars, and you go around the track and field of Las Vegas. So I did do that. There was a guy that was sitting next to me, and I honestly hated that because I told him that I wanted to try to be as fast as I could. Well, maybe that was the wrong thing to tell him, because he was just saying, accelerate, brake, accelerate, shift up, shift down. You know, it was just constantly, he was telling me things, and I was like, I cannot concentrate on what I am doing because you were just shouting commands to me the whole time.
Oh, goodness.
And it kind of ruined the experience for me, honestly. I was like, I just kind of wanted to sit in the car and have him shut up, you know, and ask him for advice every once in a while.
Well, but Angie, next time Mark is annoying you, now you have a way. Just start barking orders at him, and he'll lose all of his concentration.
I doubt if it'll work, but I can try it.
So, but it was still cool to finally get to drive a race car, and I would have been fine with him not being in the car. I was like, I've got this. I'll be honest, though, that Las Vegas infield road course, not great. Not a fan. I don't know if you've ever seen it in iRacing or something, but
Yeah.
it's just an infield with curbs and lines driven on. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm getting lost where I am because there's no reference points.
Right.
It's
It's
just
just lines and
curbs.
cones.
Yeah. So that was my biggest issue in trying to get better at it while I was doing it. I was like, I'm lost. I don't know where I am on the track right now. It all looks the same.
Well, what car did you drive?
I drove the Porsche Cayman 718
Ooh,
GT4.
nice.
I wanted to drive the 911, but they said it was unavailable that weekend. So I was
Oh,
like, you're killing me. I probably would have died, honestly, if I would have driven that car because I would have probably tried to reach its potential.
there's a track over halfway to Oklahoma City that does that, and I keep telling Angie that would be a great birthday present, Christmas present, Father's Day present, anything, but they usually have an Audi R8 there. And I would definitely want to schedule because I want to drive an Audi R8 so badly. And a friend of mine was actually talking about buying one here not too long ago. I said, the second you do, call me. I will come see you.
Yeah, I'm working on getting my wife to allow me to buy a Porsche. She hasn't really given in yet, but I'm still working on it.
Well, see, if you could get her to drive a truck with Angie, Angie could talk her into it.
Okay, Angie, that's
I
a tall order.
Whoa, let's back that up. I don't know about all that.
Angie, did you have any questions for the Mark Nelson?
No, you ask him everything that I could think.
Did you have any trucking related comments you'd like to make to the Mark Nelson?
Let's hear it.
No,
Get it out.
no.
Now is your opportunity.
Well, I don't have to have an opportunity to tell him. I can tell him when we're driving.
And you usually do.
Usually do tell them.
Damn it, Mark!
Yeah, I think Angie's pretty funny in those reels nowadays. Like she always makes me laugh.
No, it's usually damn it, Cody.
Well, you haven't had Cody for 2 or 3 weeks now, and
I haven't had Cody to yell at.
but you have yelled. I mean, I did the ETS one from the 19th. Those two, not last Thursday, but the previous Thursday, and you did yell at Mark a few times.
Did I?
Oh yeah,
Surely not.
yeah. It was mostly on, I think, the last 2 loads because
I
the
usually
first
try
2 loads.
to
The
go ahead.
first 2 loads, I have to pull the sheet out, but it was like the first hour of the stream, the first hour of the stream, there was like 3 shorts. The second hour of the stream, there was a lot more.
Well, that was probably because in the middle, Mark said, we got to make some work for Doug.
That's usually what happens.
Then he started wrecking me.
I was like, we haven't had nearly enough issues. We need to create some.
He does say that from time to time.
Well, there is quite a backlog. I'm currently 1 week behind on trucking shorts. I'm gonna try and get one done tomorrow, so I'll be only 1 video behind after tomorrow. But there are still a lot of 2024 and 2025 videos on her computer, on her hard drive, and on mine. So
They're good. Angie, we gotta make sure we teach you about cornering speed though, so that you're on your side less.
yeah, there was. Where were we going where were we coming back from the other? Oh, we were coming back from my hearing, and she came down a back road, and and because of the trigeminal, my pressure changes are not pleasant. I wasn't doing too bad, but we drop off into this hill, and she apologized, and I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking, you need to apologize for your high speed cornering here, lady. I didn't say it, but I was thinking. So now you know, babe.
It is a very crooked road, yeah. And I wasn't even thinking. I was just driving home.
Yeah, well, the lead foot she has in ATS, she has in real life.
Yeah. My sister, I'm trying to get my sister into this, Angie. Don't teach her any bad habits now. That's my job.
Never. I'd never do that, Mark.
So will your sister be joining the convoy Thursday?
I'm trying to get her to do it every single week.
Cool. I
Right
might
now we're
have
just
to
trying.
hop in and help out.
Right now we're trying to figure out. She has a metal frame that I have things bolted to, and the feet just don't have any grip on them, and she has a wood floor. So when we're like
Oh,
stepping on the brake, it just wants to move forward, and so that was the biggest issue that she was dealing with actually on Thursday on that last run, because she finally jumped in, and she also the room was really dark, so she was having trouble. I put labels on her buttons so she knows what the buttons do and whatnot, but she couldn't read them. So a lot of good that did. But yeah, every single time that she would go to push the gas or the brake or something like that, the whole thing would move forward, and that doesn't work.
no.
You're pushing the pedals away from you. That doesn't make them efficient.
Nope, I've done that before.
So she has a Euro truck too, so we haven't started on that yet.
Well,
At
that's
all.
I mean, with the XP and money mod, that helps. You can get it out of or you can get into your own truck in about 3 jobs. So
Yeah,
makes it a
yeah,
bit
and
easier.
that sounds right. That's about how long it took with the ATS. I think I did like 3 jobs, and then I was able to take out a little bit of a loan and then get her something that would at least function, and then got her into it. And yeah,
We
I hope she likes it.
I thought she done really good. The last job we ran, she avoided the wreck.
She did wreck somebody, and I was really proud of her.
I was proud of her because we were going down through there and the light was green and she stopped, and I mean she didn't hit anything, and I think Jeremy went around her, and
Yeah. Well,
I
geez.
we were
I
having
might
that
have to
connection issue
I
too.
might have to pull her video from there and make sure I know which job it is, and then if I can get a reel, be like Mark's sister's first.
Crash.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
I'm sure she'll love that. I kept yelling at her because she kept stopping behind the AI cars at stoplights. I'm like, what are you doing? Go around it.
Just follow Angie. She'll move them.
Oh,
Right.
geez.
I'm just like, what is this rule following business that you're doing right now?
Alexa,
Stop that.
Before I forget, we're recording on Saturday night, but this will go out on Monday. So I don't know why I wrote down Sunday's races, but Monday night, Jones BS Racing is at IRP. Retreads, I don't have their schedule handy, but Dirt Race should be at Lernerville, and Asphalt should be at Daytona. Tuesday night. Wednesday night, C12 Motorsports is back, and the new Gen 4 League begins this week. I am super hyped. And Home Motorsports on Thursday is going to the Chicago Street Circuit, which reminds me I need to get cameras for that track. And we have been working on. Obviously, we use track cams for gourmets for a lot of our cameras, but we have been implementing the stuff that they don't have. We've got another place we're getting them. So we are working on getting every track upgraded cameras. And if things that have been happening in our personal lives work out the way we want them to, there'll be some massive upgrades coming, and I'm working on a project in the background that, if I can figure out how to make it work, will be something no other iRacing broadcaster has. So we're going to see if we can get that done. We'll see how it works out. There's a lot to do. Angie, are you, let's see, you'll be on Tuesday and Thursday this week?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do Tuesday, but yeah.
Well, I was going to
Wreck
say,
Cody.
You've got
Well,
some,
Cody doesn't play on Tuesdays because he works.
right, and Sketch is out this week. And somebody mentioned, not Mark surprisingly, but somebody did mention in my stream earlier, surgery.
That was probably still Sketch.
I think it was, actually. Come to think of it, I think it was
Damn it, Sketch.
But because
that surgery, like the surgery I bought for you.
Yeah,
That sounds
one.
excellent. Let's do that.
I was going to give you time and ask you, have you tried that game, Mark?
What, the surgery simulator?
Huh?
No, I wanted you to try it.
Well,
You're the person I want to laugh at.
You should try it. You're good at all this gaming stuff.
I I will say I actually have a good idea on what Angie will be playing Tuesday, and she does not know this yet. But
iRacing.
due to the Steam sale being on, I found a bundle for Train Sim 5 very, very cheap. So she got Train Sim 5 the other day. I got the same bundle so that we can train together in the future, but
Wow.
tomorrow and Monday I'm going to be working on. I'm going to have it installed on my computer, figure out how to play it, and then she's going to be able to go drive her train. We tried it once before with Train Sim 4, and controls were finicky and wonky and made things actually harder.
Mm.
So a fresh start, and she'll have her finally have a train sim she can play.
What kind of trains are in that game? Do they have Steams?
Yes, yeah.
Because I don't know if you know this, but I actually have kind of a niche love of steam locomotives. I have several electric trains.
Oh wow.
So I've been looking for a game to play that has those, that is popular and not gonna, be a what's the phrase, buyer's remorse kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
No, it's got, and I'm just scrolling through here. I know they've got steam engines. They've got even, they even have one DLC they did on 4, so I'm sure it'll transfer over to 5 eventually. Um, oh, they have a Thomas the Train engine.
of course
They
they do.
they had one that was actually classic railroad lines with classic trains. They've got diesel. Oh, they've got Europe and the U.S.
See, the thing that I didn't care much for about those train sim games is it seems like they keep coming out with new games, then they abandon the old one. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
something about games that I'm not a fan of. I like games like iRacing and America Truck Simulator where they keep making the one game better and better and better.
Yeah.
That
So I think that's why I looked at something else.
well, and that's why I got 5 for her while it was on sale, is because 4 had been out for several years. 5 has been out for like 6 months.
Hmm.
So I know that they're going to be for 4 to 6 years before they make another one.
Oh, that's good.
And they have got all the DLC you can possibly imagine on here. There's literally hundreds of
Yeah.
DLCs for it, including steam engines, electric, what do you call it? The city ones, like subway type trains.
Like trams.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Yeah, so you could literally train sim across the world.
Mm.
But there's a lot to it. I mean, we bought a bundle that had, I think, oh god, half a dozen or so DLCs, and it was really cheap. It was like $10,
Wow.
and we got like a bunch. And I'm trying to look at the list so
I
it'll
did,
tell me a number.
I actually did some retail therapy on Steam myself this morning or this afternoon after the race. I actually went and got Until Dawn and The Quarry, which what may not seem obvious is I'm pretty sure they're made by the same company and they're basically the same game. Like the mechanics are identical. I don't know if you're familiar with either one of them, but
I'm looking at
the
Until Dawn now.
Until Dawn is actually a pretty old game, but they recently redid a lot of it using the new Unreal Engine.
Oh
The
wow.
Quarry isn't too old, but they're like I said, they're basically the same game. The Quarry is only $10 instead of 60, and then Until Dawn, because it's new, it's older than Quarry,
Right.
but it was only 35% off, so that was still kind of expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to playing The Quarry again. I've owned it before, but I've never played Until Dawn. I've only seen someone play it.
So I have to ask you. Obviously, streamed Watkins Glen today, or tried to.
I tried
Um,
to. I tried several times too.
Yeah, by the way, there's 120 plus DLCs for Train Sim 5.
Yep.
But will we ever see the day when the Mark Nelson is streaming trucking, racing, gaming in general?
I don't know. It's something I've thought about. The first thing that I was going to try doing is doing a stream playing The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. I was going to do that as soon as, well, I got a new laptop gaming computer so that I could plug it into my TV, and that's typically what I do Steam games on, except iRacing and truck. And that's about the same time my sister moved here and been trying to get her settled and kind of find her things to do around here, try to get herself established. So
Right.
I haven't had much energy for anything extra than that.
If
But hopefully sometime this fall I might do a stream of The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 and make people able to see it.
Honestly, if things work out, I'd love to get both of those games. I've played a little bit of the first one and then watched my youngest play most of that game. When she would come over, that she'd just play it, and then she got my PS4. So until they had it out for PC, and now that they do, eventually I'm going to buy both of them, and I'd like to do a thing where I stream The Last of Us, over the course of a couple of days, have it planned out to where I can just do The Last of Us in the course of 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 streams. I think that would be, I mean, I know people have done that before, but I think it would be cool to do.
Yeah, like I keep saying, I really encourage everybody, like people I'm Facebook friends with. I've put numerous posts on there like, don't be a fool, buy these games. They're just, I just, I pity anybody that hasn't been able to play through it before. It's such an incredible story, and I just don't know if anybody will actually be impacted by it the same way that I did. My advice to playing those games is just allow yourself to be immersed into the story. And I almost feel like the character in that game are my
Mm-hmm.
own friends and family. Like they are able to kind of do that with the story and the mechanics, but that would be my advice for anybody that plays it for the first time is just don't don't play it like it's a game. Play it like it's your life, and it's, I don't know, a lot
It's
of tears have been shed over
it's
those
one of
games.
those. It's one of the games that I kind of have this mental list of games where if Angie ever gets good at using a controller, there's several games over the years that I've played that I would love to see her play. The Last of Us for that whole story, um, and then there's games like, oh god, I went blank as soon as I said that. Oh, there's just some of the games out there that have such a good story to them, and it's across like the Arkham games. They have such a good story if you play across all of them. If you start from the prequel game and go through, and then it's the story of Bruce Wayne's life.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many. I'd love to see her get into the Elder Scrolls Remastered because it's a big game. There's a lot to it, but if you just stick to the campaign, then it's a really interesting and really cool story. And there's a few of those games out there that have sucked me in over the years, and I keep looking for the next big thing. I really wish. I will tell you the one game, if they ever remastered it in the original version, I would probably never play anything else. It's the original Star Wars Galaxies before they did the combat upgrade. When you had to go through and you had to work to become force sensitive and you had to work to become a Jedi, and it was like a 6 month process to even get to the point of being a Jedi.
Oh, wow.
And it was, you know, as it went on and as they meshed it, it did become a good story, but it took a while to get there. I mean, it took years of updates and whatnot, and There's a lot of games out there. The Division is one that is a really, really good story to it. There's some of the Tom Clancy ones that have a really, really, really good story. The Metro games, those were amazing. And Half-Life. God, I want Half-Life 3 so bad. I'm going to go cry in a corner now. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, the Last of Us games are kind of like that. They're they draw you in, but then they make you very sad.
They do.
So make sure you buy Angie one of those combo packs of Kleenexes because I can see her using all of them.
Yeah.
What?
It's
You think
there's
I'm playing a game?
yes, because some
That's
of
the
these games,
idea.
what I keep telling you, why you need to learn to use a controller, is because you get into some of these games and it's like watching a movie, but you're interacting with that movie,
I see.
and you become more. It's like watching your favorite movie, but becoming more involved with it. Like if you got good at playing with a controller, and you started playing Red Dead Redemption, especially if you played the original one, it would be like watching a John Wayne movie. The story, if you stick to the story, and you can do some side stuff, but if you
Right.
stick to that story, it just sucks you in. And as you see this world build out and everything,
Angie, is there a TV show, a movie, or a book that has ever made you cry?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well then that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like
practice with a
something,
controller.
yeah, so something that is just in front of you that you're not actually in can have that effect, and that's what we're talking about.
I know.
Yeah.
So I have a real quick story about Red Dead Redemption. I never played 2, but I did play 1. But when I was doing trophy hunting, one of the achievements is that you have to shoot every animal in the game at least once. And so I was out in this wide open area with some trees, and I was trying to shoot like prairie dogs or something like that, something really small. And so I would go to this area and like wait for them to pop their heads out of the ground or something like that. And then all of a sudden, my horse just goes down hard and I'm flying across the dirt. And I'm just like, what in God's name is happening? And there was a bear that had came from behind my camera that I wasn't looking and just started annihilating everything. And I'm
Oh.
like, oh my God, there's a
Oh
bear
jeez.
killing me. And it did actually end up killing me. And I think I lost a little bit of the progress that I had of the animals that I killed, and I had to go kill some of them again. And
Wow.
just for the internet, it is a game. I love animals and I don't like killing them.
No, there was a lot of weird achievements in the original Red Dead Redemption. I'm sure you know the one I'm thinking of, Mark.
Remind me.
You had to rope a woman in town, run out, and rope her to the back of the train as it's going by.
Oh God,
Or was it
I
that, or was it you have to put her on the tracks? I don't remember.
I don't remember that, but I think I got 100% in that game, so I must have done it.
Yeah, I keep looking for a game, and I honestly wish I don't know if Steam has Gears of War. You could probably get it on Xbox Game Pass. I think that one. I don't know the story behind it. I feel like it's one that might suck her in, even though it's you're shooting aliens or whatever. Oh, they do have Gears of War. But I don't know. I keep looking for the game that is gonna just suck her in, and then she'll completely understand gaming. I mean, I know she gets it because I know how much she enjoys trucking, and I know how much she's gonna love um, the train, and I know when she has played Red Dead Redemption, she's enjoyed it. But The
You know
day
what
comes for, I think, for all of us when we're playing some game, and like with you and The Last of Us, it hits, you get sucked in, and that's the day you really become a gamer because you understand.
Yeah, I had some dark times with those games, like like in a good way. Like it's tough the first one or two times that you go through both those games and experience them the first time. More so the second game. The first game is mostly happiness, but the second game I feel like it has much more of a sad, darker tone
It
to it.
does.
And so when I finished watching the YouTube video, because I didn't play the games myself until a few months later. I just wanted to watch a video on YouTube of a guy that was just playing them like a game movie and without like talking, thank God. So I got to the end of part 2 and I was, gosh, well, the word escapes me, where you're just kind of like sitting there and you don't know what to do, you don't know what to feel. Catatonic, I think is the word that I was looking for. And I was just completely lost in thought for like several hours after I finished it. I was like, I'm nuts.
Yeah.
Like why did it have that effect on me?
Uh,
So
I've had a few over the years that have been like that, where you just can't put them down. You get to the end, and it's on your mind for a while.
it was very like I went upstairs and my wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" Like that's what it did to me. And I don't want to scare anybody away from it. I mean it kind of screwed me over or screwed me up, not over, the first one or two times that I did experience it, but the more times that I went through it, I finally started enjoying it properly and getting to the end and not being miserable.
Yeah, and there's a lot on a second playthrough. I mean, from what I've seen of it, there's a lot on a multiple playthroughs. You miss a lot. First time, you're just trying to get from A to B, and you're picking up the story. But if you go back and replay it, then you get even more out of it.
Yeah, and when I watched again, I watched the video, well, somebody's videos the first few times that I experienced it before I finally bought a PS5 and played them both myself. And that gave me the advantage of fast forwarding. So when I was watching part 2, and actually I want to take a step back. I tell people this story all the time, so I might as well tell you. Season 1 of the show is based on game 1.
Right.
So I watched the video on YouTube of part 1, the game, and then Left Behind, which is the 7th episode of season 1. That is a separate downloadable content game.
Right.
And
Oh,
so
that's
I
right.
played that, and then after I finished that, I was going to start the video of part 2. And I was on Wikipedia looking at something. I was curious about something in the game, and someone's fate was spoiled in like the first paragraph of that Wikipedia page. I'm just like, unbelievable. Like I haven't even started watching this video yet, and you've just crushed me. And so it happens pretty early. So, I mean, it's not like I had very long to wait, but my God, that just ruined me. But anyway, and so as I'm watching this video of part 2, it gets to a point where there is a character change. And I was like, I don't care. I fast forwarded like 4 hours through the video until it started on another character again. And I get to the end of the game and I'm just like, oh, I probably should have watched that 4 hours of video. Because I was just like, I don't care about this. I'm moving forward. And yeah, so the second time I watched it, I'm like, okay, I can appreciate this a little bit more now that I actually watched it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's games out there like that. And hey, you guys at home, comment and let us know what game has really sucked you guys in. And I guess on that note, we went way further than we expected for this one. So, and Angie didn't have a whole heck of a lot to say. So, any final thoughts, Angie?
Nope.
We'll do this again next week, but Angie has to ask the questions.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to get her to, but with you being the guinea pig here, it was just we'll play it by ear type thing.
Well, Angie, I will say that I'm glad that Doug convinced you to play American Truck Simulator, or at least you convinced yourself, because it's been a great time. It's something I look forward to every Thursday night. So
it's always
keep
fun.
playing.
Oh, I will. I will. I told him this evening. He told me we were going to interview you, and I'm like, you don't need me. You can just interview him. I'll just stay in here on the couch with my feet up. He's like, no, you can go help. And I'm like, okay. So
Well,
I've been here all this time, and thanks, guys.
well, next time I'm going to take the list of questions and I'm going to have you do the questions and I'll just do the conversation.
Oh, joy. I can hardly wait.
Well, you need to interact more because it's a podcast for both of us and whoever we
Oh,
talk to.
I did interact some.
I know you did. That's not what I meant. I just meant going forward, we'll modify our strategy so that, because I will tell you, like I told you earlier, whenever you've been in a broadcast, it's always more Angie. So people like the unicorn.
And there you have it.
Well, Mark, thank you for taking time out of your, I know what was a busy day.
You were welcome. It was fun. I was happy to do it. I'm glad we finally got it done. I know we've been talking about it for weeks.
Yep. Well, great job, and I'm sure we'll see you on track soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mark. See you later.